Hey guys, today I'm finally giving you the results of the self-tan experiment that I've been doing over the last few months actually. I have used many self-tanners over the years, and I've bought loads in the last few months and thought, right, I was getting to the point where I was putting one on and then I was putting another one on top, and I couldn't remember which, you know, if something went patchy I was like, well, which one was that again? And then when I was going to the shops to buy tanner this year as well, I thought I can't remember what works well and what doesn't. So I thought I would do the same as I did with my Gradual tanners and kind of make a chart and give them, you know, put notes in and do an actual experiment. So I'd put one on one arm, one on the other arm, one on my legs, and kind of see how they went. And the results are really interesting. I have to say, out of all of the tans that I'm looking at here today, there isn't really a bad one. Maybe one that I think is just overpriced and I don't really like the colour. But in general, there's nothing really here that is awful. So if you're looking for a good self-tanner for the summer, you might find this useful information. So let's get started. I've tried to compare like for like. So for example, the first ones are two liquid ones. So it's James Read Liquid Tan and Tropez Liquid. So I'm trying to sort of group it like that and put two liquid ones together, two lotions together, that kind of thing, and see how I got on. Now, something to bear in mind is the things that I like about tan is probably not what most people like, but I will sort of say that as I'm going along. What I mean by that is I prefer untinted tans, although most of these are tinted actually, but I do prefer ones without a tint just because it makes less mess of the bedclothes. I also really like the tan smell, which again a lot of people don't. I don't like really sort of fruity smells and whatnot, but like I said, I'll point that out as we go along. Okay, and if you see me looking down, it's because I've got my sheet here with all my notes on about what did what. The first one I'm looking at is this. It's the James Read Liquid Tan, and this is in light. This one comes in medium as well, and the cost is £24.50, so they're pretty expensive, and it's just a usual kind of tinted, very thin liquid that's fairly easy to use. What I've said about this is that it was very slightly patchy, but only very slightly. I tried this out on my arms. It's not moisturising at all, so if you're looking for a moisturising tan, the liquid ones probably aren't for you. And what I've said about this is it's like the Tropez liquid, except that it's harder to blend and it's not quite as dark. So if you're looking for a lighter one, then that might be a good one if you don't mind just spending a bit more time blending. There's barely any smell to this, but the smell there is, I was just smelling it actually. It's a little bit fruity, only ever so slightly, but it's not, I don't think it's as much of a tan smell as the Tropez liquid. So the Tropez liquid, I also used this on my arms. Like I said, I was trying to do a sort of like for like, and this one dried fast. This one was, again, slightly patchy. This one does catch hold of dry patches, I think. If you had any particular dry patches on your arms or anywhere, I think that this would catch hold of it. The smell, this is a very tanny smell, I think, but I like that smell, like I said before, so I don't mind that at all. But these two together are much of a muchness really. This one is £30, so this one is £6 more expensive for the same amount. There's, well, slightly more in this. This one is 250ml, this one is 240. This one comes with a spray, so I guess if you like to spray it like directly on yourself, that might be an advantage to getting the Tropez one. But for me personally, I just spray it onto the mitt and then quickly work it in. I've never actually just, you know, sprayed this on me. I wouldn't think that that would be a good way to do it. You'd make a mess of your bathroom if nothing else. Yeah, so that's those two. Like I said, I think this one's probably got the better smell for most people. It's lighter, but harder to blend. This one is darker and easier to blend, but this one is more expensive, £30. So that's those two. Next on to lotions, and the two I'm comparing are these. This is the Tropez Lotion and then the Moritz Lotion. So let's have a look what I've said about these. The Tropez Lotion I use both of these on my legs, so one on the right, one on the left. The Tropez, I've said that it's not moisturising, but it did dry fast. In fact, I've said that for both of them. They were both ever so slightly patchy, but that was probably around my feet area, and I think like on the tops, you know, on the side of the feet, For some reason it always goes patchy there, and I don't have dry skin, so I'm not sure why it does go like that. I've said that the Tropez lotion does catch hold of dry patches, but that the Moritz is like Tropez but easier to blend and lighter. So that's a really good thing, because the difference in price of these is huge. So let's see, Tropez lotion, £30 for this, and that is 240ml. This one is 200ml, £2.99. So definitely this is the bargain option, and the differences between them are that this one is lighter, but then this is the medium, so you could get this in the dark. I haven't yet tried it in the dark, but if you're looking for the same kind of colour as this, get this one in the dark, I would say. This one that I tried being in the medium did not last as long as this did. This wore off literally within a day or two. So I'm not sure if the dark would come off as quickly. From girls at work have told me they use the dark and that it does last as long as this. But I haven't tested that myself. But for £2.99, it's definitely worth a try, isn't it? And like I said, this one, actually the Moritz was much easier to blend. Let's see what else I said about it. Yeah, again, this one has got the usual kind of tan smell, but this one, it's not fruity or anything. This is more like a sort of an older person's cream. That sounds a bit mean, but do you know, like the Astral cream that I was doing, if you watched my haul, it's that kind of smell, this. So that might be preferable to that usual kind of tan smell. So that's those two. Then the Moritz Mousse. So exactly the same as the Moritz lotion, except this one is in a mousse. I don't have the Tropez mousse to compare it to, actually, because I never really thought I got on with a mousse, but since using this I found that this one is actually better than the lotion, so I'll compare it to that. So I used this one on my legs as well. It did dry really fast, wasn't moisturising. This one wasn't patchy at all. This one did not go patchy, which is really impressive for me considering I used it on my legs. Medium, yeah, this is the medium again, and this one only lasted sort of 2 days maximum. So again, I would say the same as with the lotion from Moritz, perhaps go for the dark, and I've heard that that lasts longer. This one, same kind of thing in the smell. It's not a very strong smell at all, so I don't think it's quite as tan-like smell as the Tropez. And this one is also £2.99, so it's an absolute bargain. So I'd really recommend this. I think I did a video on this, actually, a whole video on this one. Really, really good. And I've since used it on my arms as well, and it comes out great. So I love that. Next is my very favourite, which I also have a video on, which is the M&S Tan. It's called Formula, and it says face and body. So let's see where I used it for the experiment. I used it on my face, and I also used it on my feet. The first thing, in the dry fast category, it didn't dry as fast as all the others. So this was a kind of, I've put medium, so it doesn't dry instantly. You maybe do need to walk around for sort of 5 minutes before it absorbs. But the good thing about it is this one is moisturising. So if you're looking for a moisturising tan, this would probably be more for you. This didn't go patchy at all, but I knew that. This is the only tan I've ever used on my feet and legs, apart from now that Moritz Mousse, that hasn't gone patchy at all. But this is quite a light colour. It's not a really, really dark colour. It's not a gradual tan by any means, but it's definitely a lighter colour. I just think this is the nicest colour that I can put on my legs and feet that doesn't look like I'm deliberately faking it, if you know what I mean. It does just look like I've got a little bit of colour, which is nice. What else? Oh, it does smell a little bit tan-like, so this has got that tanny smell if you don't like that. Like I said, I don't mind that at all. And this one is also not tinted. It's a clear, it's just a clear lotion, like a moisturiser. And it is very, very moisturising. I really like that, especially, I mean, I think that that's maybe why this doesn't go patchy, because it's so moisturising that when you're putting it on your feet and legs, it's got that real good moisture built in that there's not so much chance of patchiness. Because it's not tinted, I don't just apply it with the mitt, which is, I have to say, that's a really easy way of doing it, and neither do I do it, sometimes I just do it with gloves, but with this one I do it with my hands, because I feel like it's the only way to really like work it all in and make sure you've covered everything, because you've no colour guide to let you see where you've put it. So for me, the key with this is working it in until it is almost dry, and like, you know, sometimes that can take quite a lot of effort, but I think it's the payoff is worth it. It really lasts, and it's still my favourite tan of all time. Like I said, I also use this on my face. This is, out of all of the tans I've tried on my face, and I have tried a lot, this again is still my favourite because it just gives quite a good colour. Actually, I feel like on my face and neck it gives a darker colour than on my legs and feet, strangely, but maybe that's just because I can always see the contrast here between my scalp and face, but this is definitely my favourite for my face. It never breaks me out. It feels moisturising, so my skin doesn't feel dry. And price wise, this one is £7, which I think is really good because you get 200ml, which is great. And the good thing about it is it's for face and body, so this is where I could literally buy this. If I had to choose one tan for the rest of my life, this would be it, and I would use this everywhere. I'd happily use it on my arms, my face, legs, everywhere, whereas sometimes I can kind of mix and match a lot of them, as you can see. But I totally recommend that. And the next one is Vita Liberata. Now that I did use one of these in my Gradual tan experiment, called a Gradual tanner, but this one is the Untinted Self-Tan Gel. The first thing I would say is there's not a huge amount of difference that I can see between this one and the Gradual tan. This one is ever so slightly darker, but there's not an awful lot in it. So I used this one on my arms. This one does dry fast. It's not moisturising, unfortunately. Not for me a problem on my arms, but when I'm using it on my legs and feet, that would be a problem for me. Ever so slightly patchy. This one fades really well, I found. There wasn't a single kind of patch at all when this was fading. It did just fade very slowly and very evenly, which was nice. There is no smell on this whatsoever. So if you are one of those that hates the tan smell or any kind of smell, and maybe you've got sensitive skin and you're looking for something unperfumed, I think this would be a really good one to use, because like I said, there isn't a bit of smell at all. And this one is £17, so that's kind of mid-range, definitely cheaper than Tropez and James Read, and you get 200ml in this one. What I forgot to tell you actually on the others is I had put down the Boots review marks that they got. So it's out of 5. This one got a 3 out of 5, so it's not too bad. The Tropez Liquid got a 5, so that's kind of like obviously the #1 choice for people in Boots. And then the Tropez Lotion got a 4.5 out of 5. But I think most people know Tropez, don't they, and know that it's pretty good stuff. So that's the Vita Liberata. Then the next few ones are kind of all the ones I tried on my face and not anywhere else because they're meant for the face. So the first one is this one, which is La Roche Posay Gel Fondant Melting Gel. And I think this was in my favourites the first time I used it. And you can see I've used it all. And I really did love this. And I thought this was going to be my new facial tanner because I had thought that the M&S tan didn't exist anymore, but it does, so it's fine. No need to panic. This one I do still really love it, but I don't know whether I just was so excited in the beginning that I didn't notice it, but towards the end of this when I was using it, I sort of felt like there was a little bit of an orange tint to it, ever so slightly, and it's when I was watching videos I noticed it and I thought there is a slight orange tint to that. It's not quite as lovely sort of caramel brown as the M&S or any of the other colours, but that aside, it's a really, really good one. I've said that it dries in a medium, so it's kind of the same as the M&S one, so it doesn't instantly dry. It's not a fast drying one, but it's good because it gives you moisturisation. So if you're looking for something to give you good moisture, I would definitely recommend this. It's not one that makes you feel dry. Didn't go patchy at all, so that was great. Yeah, slightly orange colour. It's quite a dark colour, this one though. You'd be surprised how dark it is for it just being a cream. It's not a tinted one either, so it isn't one that gives you any kind of guide colour, but for me, again, that was good because then you're not getting the colour on your bed sheets. I've said that it's quite a tan smell. Let's see. Yeah, it is fairly tanny, I think, but again, it's a little bit like that other one where I would say it's got that sort of astral smell, so it's a bit of a tan mixed in with a moisturiser smell, but I don't mind it, but some of you might be bothered by that. On the Boots review website, there's only one review and it gets a 5 out of 5, so whoever that person is, they love it. And the price of this is £15, so it's fairly expensive, although this has lasted me a long time. I wish I could remember when I got it, but I've certainly had it for months, and you don't need to use an awful lot. I was actually using it with a brush, with a makeup brush, and putting it all over my face and neck, which was really easy, just sitting in front of the telly, you know, in the evening when I had done my routine. So I would definitely recommend that. But like I said, just sort of watch out for that slight orange tint and see if you could see that on yourself. It may have just been me. I didn't notice it in the beginning for some strange reason. It may just be on camera, you know. So that's that one. The next one was this, that you may remember I got in, I think I said it about it in a haul, because I got it free on a magazine. I didn't get it free on a magazine, I bought the magazine to get this. And this is the Rodial Brazilian Tan Clear Non-Tinted Self-Tan Gel. The first thing I would say is I find it odd that they call it non-tinted, because look, you can see it's a brown gel. So, I mean, it's not dark brown, but it's certainly not clear, and it says clear all the way across it, which I think is really odd. However, what have I said about this? I've said that it didn't dry fast, and I've put a big no, not even like medium, which means that this was tacky for a long time. And actually I remember, and the way that I can tell is I always put my tan on at night before bedtime. I never ever put them on in the morning. And I put it on, I kind of sit on my seat in the living room, put my tanner on, and then once it's dry is when I go over and kind of lie and cuddle up with my husband. And I don't want to do that before it's dry, because if he kind of like has his hands on my face or anything, or kisses my cheek, like it's gonna either ruin the fake tan or he's gonna get it on him, neither of which I want. And I remember that particular night, I was like, no, I'm coming over to cuddle, but just to let you know that I've got tanner on and it still doesn't feel dry. And the whole time I was lying there, I kept sort of touching my face and it still felt tacky. So this, it's definitely moisturising, but it takes a long time to dry. So just a kind of warning about that. It wasn't patchy, however, this one seemed to be peeling off after the first day. A small disclaimer is that I was using a moisturiser, it's a body butter by Champneys that I've been using on my arms and kind of neck. And I did notice when I put it on my neck that there was a few, do you know when you get those sort of, I can't remember what people call them, but it's like little rolls of skin, it's horrible. Well, that's what happened with this. I was just sort of going like that and I thought, what on earth? And it was like little rolls of skin. But I wonder if it was like, because I'd used that body butter on my neck underneath this, why it came out like that. And it did happen twice though, but the second time I couldn't remember if I'd used the body butter. So just to let you know that, but I feel like it was this that was peeling off. The smell of this one, I've said medical. Let's see if yeah, I feel like this has got a bit of a medical smell to it. It's got quite a, what is that word? I don't know if this will make sense, but it's got a bit of a tinny smell to it as well. I don't actually like it. It's not a particular tanny smell, so maybe other people will like it. I would never buy this again though. It's £35 for the full size of this. I don't know how much you would get in it, but I'm sure I've seen the bottles before. I'm sure it's no more than like 250 ml. £35. This is the most expensive one out of all of them. And I'm kind of surprised that they were giving out these samples. I suppose they believe in their product, but it certainly hasn't done anything to me to go, oh my goodness, I've got to buy this. So for me, not a winner, but if that peeling thing was to do with the moisturiser, then there's not really anything else wrong with it if you don't mind the fact that it doesn't dry quickly. So that's that one. And then there's one final one that's not actually on my list, but I can talk about. And it's this, it's the Gradual Tan Anti-Aging Tropez one, Multi-Action Face, which says, prolong youth and create a luminous sun-kissed glow with revolutionary multi-action moisturiser. So it's an anti-aging tanner. It's a clear liquid, so it's not a tinted one. It says on it Gradual Tan, but when I used it, it came out slightly patchy for a start, which is really unusual for Tropez, and that was a shame. It came out a muddy colour, which again, you would think with the colour of these, because they've got that sort of green tint, you'd think they might come out muddy looking, but they don't. They're beautiful when you wash them off, and including the St. Moritz as well is the same. But this one, to me, just looked muddy on me. Maybe it doesn't on other people. You may have heard me say before that I'm not really into anti-aging creams. So the anti-aging side of things, I wouldn't really be able to tell because, and I certainly wouldn't be able to tell in the small amount of time that I used it. But I used it 2 or 3 times maybe. And when I use a self-tanner, particularly when I use this is really sad what I'm going to tell you, just to warn you. But when I'm kind of, say it's got to the 3rd day and I've no tan on and I use this at night, I remember it when I wake up and I sort of open my eyes and I think, oh yay, I'm going to have a lovely tan, and it just makes me feel better. And I know that like when I put my makeup on, it's going to look nicer to me and I'm going to feel nicer that day in general. But when I put this on, I had the same, I woke up and thought, oh yay, let's see what this tan looks like, I'm going to have a nice tan. But when I put my makeup on, it just didn't look right. It just looked like I'd put tanner on. It just, the colour was weird. So for me, this isn't a good one for me. But maybe if you're looking for something with anti-aging in it, as far as I know, there's not many of these about. I think this was about £20 as well, which for the 50ml that's in it is very expensive. So up to you on that one. So what I'm doing at the end is just a kind of summary, because there's a lot of information there, I know, and I will, if anybody wants like the spreadsheet and the kind of notes that I've done on these, then I'm happy to email it to anybody that asks. Or if there's particularly one that you thought, oh, I'm really interested in that, remind me again what it was, you know, so you don't have to watch the whole video again, then just stick it in the comments and I'm happy to go over that. But what I've done is a kind of summary of, if you're looking for this, this is the one to get. So I've said, if you're looking for a budget tanner, then go for the Moritz ones. Either of these, depending on the formula you prefer, the lotion or the mousse. I would say that the mousse is probably safer. So if you're less experienced and you know you want to do it faster and it dries faster, that's probably the mousse for you. So they're £2.99. If you're looking for one with no smell, so if you've got sensitive skin and you don't really like the tan smell, then go for the Vita Liberata one, because there's definitely no smell at all and it's still a really good tan. If it's most important to you to have one that dries really fast, so you want to be able to put it on and kind of get dressed straight away, then I would go for either of these, the James Read or the Tropez Liquid form. The James Read one is actually cheaper than this one. This one is £24.50, this is £30 as far as I know. So I would go for the James Read, and if you want it to be the same colour as this, don't forget to get the dark one. So that's that. If you are looking for, if you have dry skin and you're looking for one that's really moisturising, but you're not too worried about it drying fast, then go for M&S. This is the most moisturising one, I would say. And as you know, I love it, so I would always say go for that one. If you're looking for a really light colour, so you want a tan but you don't want a really dark colour, then go for Moritz in either the mousse or the lotion again actually, but go for the medium. Whereas if you're looking for a bit more colour, go for the dark. So that's that. And then finally, if you're looking for something that is really long lasting, so say you're going away for a weekend or even a week and you want to take a small amount to top up in the middle of the week or something, but you don't want to be doing it every few days, then I would say go for the M&S or the Tropez, because they are both the ones that last the longest. For you, that was a lot of tanning, and people at work probably wondered what was going on with me, different shades of colour all the time. Just for your information today, on my arms I have got Tropez, the lotion, this one, which I just kind of slapped on yesterday with one of the mitts and then just put a bit of moisturiser on my hands and wrists, and I'm quite pleased how that came out as well. So like I said, they're all pretty good tans. There's not really one that I would say I didn't love. The only one that I really didn't love at all was this Tropez anti-aging face one. Everything else, probably now with the exception of this because of the orange tint on me, I would repurchase, I think, if money was no option, because obviously now there's the cheaper options that will figure into it for me. And I still think out of all of them, like I said, if I had to choose one, it would be the M&S tan. So I hope that was really useful to you guys, because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who want to be getting their tan on for the summer. So like I said, any further questions, stick them in the comments below. I promise you I will read them and try and answer them as best I can. Thanks so much for watching today. If there is any tan out there listening to this that you think you really need to try this and that you use and you have a great success with, then please do let me know, because that's really interesting. And thanks again for listening. Hope you're having a great weekend, and I'll see you again soon.